Picture this, your alarm goes off tomorrow morning and you open your eyes, but something is different. There's no more time, no more tomorrows, no more I'll get to it later. You've run out of chances. The truth? That day is coming for all of us. You just don't know when. You think you have time, you think you can keep playing around with your potential like it's some toy you can pick up whenever you feel like it. You think you can keep putting off that business, that workout, that phone call, that dream. But here's the harsh reality. Your clock is ticking, whether you do something or not. Right now, someone out there with less talent than you, fewer connections than you, less money than you, is outworking you. They're building the life you're still fantasizing about. And while you scroll, they grind. While you hesitate, they execute. While you're telling yourself, one day, they're making today count. I'm going to tell you something that might sting. If what I'm about to say doesn't light a fire under you, nothing will. Not a tragedy, not losing everything, not even looking your own failure in the face, because you either get it now or you'll keep living the same year over and over again, calling it a life. So let me ask you, are you willing to hear the truth? Not the comforting version, not the sugar-coated one, the raw, unfiltered truth that either wakes you up today or leaves you sleeping until it's too late. Because by the time we're done here, you're going to have a choice. Keep living like your time is free, or finally start acting like every breath you take is costing you something. And make no mistake, it is. You keep telling yourself that one day things will change. One day you'll get your break. One day the right person will notice you, help you, or open that door for you. You've been trained to believe that if you just keep your head down, work a little harder, and wait patiently, someone will show up and hand you the life you've been dreaming about. But here's the truth most people never want to face. No one is coming. No one is riding in on a white horse to rescue you. No one is going to pull you out of bed, put money in your account, or hand you the exact opportunity you've been waiting for. You are your own rescue plan. Always have been, always will be, and the sooner you stop waiting for someone else to do for you what you should be doing for yourself, the sooner you'll start to see the life you want taking shape. The world does not reward people who wait. It rewards people who move. Those who decide that they are done sitting in the waiting room of life, hoping to be called in. You see, there's a dangerous comfort in waiting. It gives you the illusion of patience, but in reality it's fear, wearing a disguise. Waiting feels safe because you're not risking anything. You're not putting yourself out there where you could fail, where people could laugh at you, where you could get rejected. So you tell yourself you're waiting for the right moment. But let me tell you something about that moment. It doesn't exist. You make it exist by acting, not by waiting. Think about it. Every person you've ever admired didn't get where they are by waiting for the right time. They started before they were ready. They moved when they were scared. They acted when the odds were against them. They weren't handed their chance. They took it. And if you're not willing to do the same, you've already chosen your fate. There's a story I heard once about a man who got stranded in the middle of the ocean. He prayed for God to save him. A boat came by, but he waved it off saying, "God will save me." A plane flew overhead and dropped a ladder, but he refused to climb it, still waiting for God to save him. Hours later, he drowned. And when he got to the other side, he asked God, "Why didn't you save me?" God said, "I sent you a boat. I sent you a plane. You just didn't take them." That's how so many people live their lives. They're waiting for a miracle, blind to the fact that the opportunity to save themselves has already passed them a dozen times. Nobody owes you anything. Not your family, not your friends, not your government, not your boss. Harsh? Yes. But it's the truth. The sooner you stop expecting people to hand you a better life, the sooner you'll start building one yourself. Every single person you meet is fighting their own battles, carrying their own burdens, trying to figure out their own life. They don't have the time or energy to carry you to. And even if they wanted to, they couldn't. The life you want is something only you can create, because only you know exactly what it looks like. And I get it, sometimes you've been knocked down so many times you don't even remember what it feels like to stand tall. You feel tired, you feel stuck, but understand this. Staying on the ground is a choice. Maybe you didn't choose to get knocked down, but getting back up, that's all you. No one is going to grab your hand and pull you back into the fight. You've got to find that strength inside you. Ask yourself this. If you disappeared today, who would stop their life to come find you? Who would burn their hands, pulling you out of the fire? The list is probably a lot shorter than you think. And that's not because people don't care. It's because everyone is living their own life, trying to keep their own head above water. That's why you can't afford to wait for someone to swoop in and save you. You have to become the person who saves you. Stop telling yourself that you'll start when you feel ready. You're not going to feel ready. You'll never wake up one morning with the fear gone and the confidence fully formed. That's not how it works. You gain the confidence after you start. You earn the courage by acting while you're scared. Waiting for readiness is like waiting for the ocean to be still before you swim. It's never going to happen. You either get in and start swimming or you stand on the shore forever. Look at your life right now. The career you want, the body you want, the freedom you want, it's all on the other side of action. Not talking, not wishing, not planning, action. Every single day you wait is another day. You could have been getting closer to it. That's time you never get back. Waiting costs you your dreams. It robs you quietly without you even realizing it until you wake up one day and wonder where your life went. So here's the choice. You can keep sitting in the passenger seat, hoping someone else will take you where you want to go, or you can slide into the driver's seat and start steering your own damn life. You can keep telling yourself that you'll start someday, or you can decide that today is the day you stop waiting. The day you take responsibility for everything you want and everything you don't yet have. You don't need someone to save you. You need to save yourself. You need to stop looking at other people's timelines, other people's success, and other people's approval. The moment you stop waiting for someone else to give you permission is the moment you take your life back. And when you do, you'll realize something powerful. No one was ever coming because no one needed to. The only person who could save you was you. Every time you open your mouth to explain why you haven't started, why you haven't followed through, why you're still in the same place you were a year ago, you are building the walls of a prison. And the most dangerous part, you're both the prisoner and the warden. Every excuse you give yourself is a lock on that cell. You tell yourself it's not the right time, you're too busy, you don't have the resources, you don't know where to start. You repeat these lines so often they start to sound like facts. But they're not facts, they're stories you tell yourself to feel better about staying exactly where you are. You say you don't have time, but you somehow find hours for Netflix scrolling and pointless conversations that lead nowhere. You say you don't have the money, but you spend on things that give you quick dopamine hits instead of investing in things that could actually move your life forward. You say you're too tired, but you stay up late doing things that drain you instead of things that build you. You think you have reasons, but all you have are excuses, and excuses are just lies dressed up as logic. Here's the truth. Every minute you spend explaining why you can't is a minute someone else is spending figuring out how they can. While you're stuck defending your inaction, someone else is finding a way around their limitations. They're not more talented than you. They're not smarter than you. They just refuse to let their excuses speak louder than their goals. That's why they're getting results, and you're not. Excuses are seductive because they give you relief in the moment. They let you avoid the discomfort of taking responsibility. If you can point to an external reason, time, money, circumstances, you can shift the blame off yourself. But while that might feel good now, it's slowly killing your potential. It's stealing from your future. Every excuse you make is you giving away a piece of your life, piece by piece, until there's nothing left worth fighting for. Think about this. Everyone has obstacles. Everyone has challenges. The most successful people you know faced them too. The difference? They didn't use their obstacles as reasons to stop. They used them as reasons to go harder. You might think your situation is harder than theirs. But here's the thing, you can either use your struggle as fuel or as an anchor. You get to choose. Maybe you tell yourself you're not ready yet. That's one of the most dangerous excuses out there because it sounds responsible. You convince yourself that waiting until you have it all together is smart, but ready is a myth. No one starts fully prepared. No one begins with all the answers. You get ready by starting, by taking messy, imperfect action, by figuring things out on the way. If you keep waiting for the stars to align, you'll wait forever. And deep down, you know that's exactly what your excuses want. They want you stuck. Or maybe you've convinced yourself you're too old or too young or too inexperienced. That's another lie. There are people older than you, younger than you, with less experience than you, doing exactly what you claim you can't do. The difference is they've decided their life is worth the risk of trying. They'd rather fail in motion than sit safely in the corner of life, untouched by rejection, but also untouched by success. Let's be real. Most of your excuses are just fear in disguise. Fear of failure, fear of looking foolish, fear of people judging you, fear of not being enough. But here's the reality. You're already failing every single day you don't try. You're already losing the time you'll never get back. People might judge you for trying, but they're going to judge you for doing nothing too. So if you're going to be judged either way, you might as well be judged for building something you care about. The saddest part, your excuses don't just hurt you, they hurt the people who are counting on you. Your family, your friends, your future self, the version of you who could be living a better life, inspiring others, breaking cycles. Every time you choose an excuse over action, you're letting them down. You're telling them their potential doesn't matter either. And before you think I'm being too harsh, understand this. I'm not telling you this to break you down. I'm telling you this to wake you up. You have more control over your life than you're willing to admit. Yes, there are circumstances you can't control, but there is always something you can do, always. The problem is, you've let your excuses become more comfortable than your ambition. Imagine your potential as a seed. Every day you act, you water it. Every day you make excuses, you starve it. And when you starve it long enough, it dies. That's the truth. Potential isn't permanent, it's perishable. You can lose it if you don't use it. So when you say, I'll do it later, what you're really saying is, I'm okay with letting my dreams rot while I sit here telling myself stories. So here's what you need to do. Catch yourself in the act. The next time you hear yourself say, I can't, because stop. Ask yourself if that's really the truth or just the easiest way out. Ask yourself if you'd be willing to bet your future on that excuse being valid, because that's what you're doing every time you believe it. You're gambling away the life you could have for the comfort of staying exactly where you are. There's a line I want you to remember. Your future doesn't care about your excuses. It only cares about your actions. Excuses might protect you from discomfort today, but they will guarantee your regret tomorrow. And regret is a pain you can't shake. You can't go back and fix it. You can't buy the time back. One day you'll look in the mirror and realize you're out of time. You'll wish you had started when you first thought about it. You'll wish you had pushed past the fear, ignored the doubt, and moved anyway. And the worst part, you'll realize that the only thing that ever stood in your way was you. So stop killing your potential with excuses. You're not protecting yourself. You're destroying yourself. Your life is too important to waste on I can't and I'll do it later. Drop the excuses, pick up the responsibility, and move, because the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the story you keep telling yourself about why you can't have it. Change the story, and you change everything. Every time you open your mouth to explain why you haven't started, why you haven't followed through, why you're still in the same place you were a year ago, you're building the walls of your own prison. You're the inmate and the warden. Every excuse you make is a lock on that cell. You tell yourself you don't have the time, you're not ready, you don't have the money, you don't know where to start. You repeat these things so often they start to feel like facts. They're not facts, they're stories you tell yourself so you can stay comfortable. You say you don't have time, but you somehow find hours to scroll, binge watch, or gossip. You say you don't have money, but you spend on things that numb you instead of things that build you. You say you're tired, but you stay up late doing things that drain you. These aren't reasons, they're lies dressed up as logic. Meanwhile, someone else with fewer resources and bigger problems is figuring out a way forward. They're not waiting for perfect conditions, they're creating them. That's the difference. Excuses are addictive because they let you avoid pain now, but the cost is your future. They keep you safe in the moment, but in exchange they steal years from you. Everyone has obstacles, everyone has reasons to quit. The ones who win simply refuse to let those reasons decide their future. Telling yourself you're not ready is one of the most dangerous excuses. No one starts ready. They start scared, messy, and uncertain and get better as they go. Waiting to be ready is just procrastination in disguise. The same goes for thinking you're too old, too young, or too inexperienced. There are people younger than you, older than you, with less skill than you, who are living the life you want because they decided to act anyway. Fear hides behind excuses. Fear of failing, fear of looking foolish, fear of being judged, but avoiding action because of fear is already failure. Every day you don't try is a day you've already lost. People will judge you whether you act or not, so why not give them something worth talking about? Your excuses don't just limit you, they hurt the people counting on you. Every time you choose an excuse over progress, you're letting down your future self, your family, and everyone you can inspire. Potential is not permanent. It's perishable. Every day you feed it with action, it grows. Every day you feed it with excuses, it dies a little. I'll do it later. It's just another way of saying, I'm okay with letting my dreams rot while I stay comfortable. Start catching yourself in the act. When you say, I can't, because stop and challenge it. Ask yourself if you'd bet your entire future on that excuse being valid, because you are. Every single time you believe it. Your future doesn't care about your excuses. It only cares about your actions. Excuses will protect you from discomfort today, but they'll hand you regret tomorrow. And regret is the one pain you can't heal from. One day you'll realize you're out of time, and you'll wish you'd moved sooner. You'll wish you had been braver, bolder, and less concerned with what could go wrong. And the worst part, you'll see that the only thing in your way was you. Stop killing your potential with excuses. Drop them. Take responsibility. Move. Because the story you're telling yourself right now is the only thing standing between you and the life you could have. Change the story, and you change everything. People love talking about motivation like it's the secret ingredient to success, as if the right YouTube video, the perfect speech, or the right mood will magically push them into action. And sure, motivation feels good. It's exciting. It's that rush of energy that makes you believe you can take on the world. But here's the problem. Motivation is temporary. It's unstable. It shows up when it wants to, and it leaves the moment things get hard. And if the only thing driving you is motivation, you're in trouble. Because what happens the day you wake up tired? What happens when you don't feel like going to the gym, working on your business, or studying for that exam? What happens when there's no hype, no energy, no spark? If all you've ever relied on is motivation, you'll quit. You'll tell yourself, not today, and not today becomes a week, then a month, and before you know it, you're back where you started. That's why discipline is everything. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline doesn't need you to be excited, inspired, or in the mood. Discipline says, we're doing this because it needs to be done, period. Discipline is showing up on the days you're tired, the days you're stressed, the days when everything in you is screaming to take it easy. It's the voice that cuts through the excuses and says, we do this because we said we would. The truth is, the most successful people in the world are not motivated every day. In fact, most days they're not motivated at all, but they've trained themselves to show up anyway. That's the difference. The person who only works when they feel like it will always be outrun by the person who works no matter what. Think about it like this. Motivation is the spark that starts a fire, but discipline is the wood that keeps it burning. Without discipline, the fire burns bright for a moment and then dies out. With discipline, the fire stays alive through the wind, through the rain, through the cold nights when nothing else would survive. Discipline is built, not found. You build it by making small promises to yourself and keeping them every single time. You say you'll wake up at 6 a.m. and you do it. You say you'll work out today and you do it. You say you'll study for an hour and you do it. And every time you follow through, you're reinforcing to yourself, I can count on me. That's powerful, because when you trust yourself, you stop negotiating with your goals. You just get it done. People love to say they're waiting for motivation to strike, but that's like waiting for lightning to hit the same spot twice. You can't depend on it. If you're serious about building something, whether it's a business, a career, a skill, or the life you want, you need a system, not a mood. You need habits that you follow, regardless of how you feel. And here's the truth. Discipline is not about doing huge things all at once. It's about doing small, consistent things over and over until they become second nature. You don't need to run a marathon tomorrow. You just need to lace up your shoes today. You don't need to write a whole book in one night. You just need to write one page today. but you do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. That's how momentum is built. That's how people transform. Motivation asks, do I feel like it? Discipline says, it doesn't matter. Motivation is about feelings. Discipline is about commitment. And feelings change all the time. Commitment stays. If you only do the work when you feel like it, you'll have an inconsistent life. If you do the work no matter what, you'll have consistent results. It's not glamorous. Discipline isn't sexy. It's not the big, exciting moment you can post on social media. Discipline is the unglamorous, repetitive grind that no one sees. It's the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, the boring work that feels like it's not paying off until one day it does. And here's the thing about discipline. At first, it's hard. It feels like you're fighting yourself every day. You'll want to quit. You'll want to negotiate with yourself. But if you stick with it, something incredible happens. You stop thinking about whether you feel like doing it or not. It just becomes who you are. You don't have to force yourself to go to the gym. It's just part of your day. You don't have to drag yourself to work on your goals. It's just what you do. That's when discipline turns into identity. And once it's part of who you are, quitting stops being an option. The reason discipline will always outperform motivation is because life is unpredictable. You can't control your mood every day, but you can control your actions. There will be days when life hits you hard, when you're tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. Motivation will vanish on those days, but discipline will keep you moving forward. And that's what separates those who succeed from those who quit. So stop waiting to feel like it. Stop waiting for the perfect burst of energy or the right mood to start. Build the habits, build the structure, build the kind of self-respect that comes from knowing you can trust yourself to follow through. Because once you have that, you won't need to depend on anyone or anything else to get moving. Motivation will get you started, discipline will get you finished, and in the end, the finish line is the only thing that matters. Every goal, every dream, every transformation you want, it's all on the other side of doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. One day you'll look back and realize that the real turning point in your life wasn't the day you got inspired. It was the day you stopped depending on inspiration altogether and decided that your word, your promise, and your discipline were non-negotiable. That's the day everything changes. That's the day you stop hoping for success and start guaranteeing it. One day your heart will beat for the last time. Your lungs will pull in their final breath. The world will go on without you. And everything you've been worrying about, every little thing you've been putting off, every excuse you've clung to, none of it will matter. It's the truth most people try to avoid. We pretend death is far away, like it's something for old age, something for later. But you don't know when later is. You don't know if you have 40 years left, 4 years left, or 4 days left. And the fact that you know without question that you will die, that's not something to fear. That's your greatest power. Because the moment you accept that your time is limited, you stop wasting it. You stop tolerating the things that drain you. You stop saying yes to things you don't care about. You stop letting fear control you. Death is the ultimate clarity. It strips away the noise and forces you to see what's real. The people who waste their lives are the ones who live like they have forever. The people who squeeze the most out of life are the ones who understand they don't. Think about it. If you knew you only had 1 year left, would you spend it scrolling through other people's lives? Would you spend it in a job you hate just because it's safe? Would you keep delaying that dream you keep saying you'll start one day? No, you'd move differently. You'd be bolder. You'd cut the nonsense. You'd tell people you love them. You'd take risks. You'd stop caring about the opinions of people who aren't even living the kind of life you want. So why aren't you living that way now? The truth is, you don't need more time, you need more urgency. Urgency makes you pay attention. It makes you stop sleepwalking through life. It makes you realize that the argument you're holding on to, the grudge you're nursing, the fear that's keeping you frozen, they're all just thieves stealing from the time you have left. Every second you give to hesitation is a second you never get back. Your life is not a rehearsal. This is the only shot you get. And every single day the clock is ticking. Whether you do something or not. You can't control the number of days you have, but you can control how you spend them. That's the power death gives you. It forces you to make your days count. It makes you ask yourself, if today were my last day, is this how I'd spend it? And if the answer is no, you have a responsibility to change it. Most people avoid thinking about death because it scares them. But avoiding it doesn't make it any less real. Pretending it's not coming is how you waste decades. Facing it is how you finally start living. Death isn't the enemy, it's the deadline that makes life meaningful. If you had forever, nothing would matter. There would be no urgency, no value, no reason to act now. The fact that you have an expiration date is what makes your time priceless. Here's the other thing. When you really understand that you're going to die, you stop living for everyone else. You stop chasing approval. You stop shaping your life to fit other people's expectations, because you realize that when you're gone, the opinions of strangers won't matter. The judgment you were so afraid of won't matter. The only thing that will matter is whether you lived on your terms or not. Ask yourself, what are the things you've been putting off because you think you'll get to them later? How many dreams have you buried under responsibilities, fear, and doubt? How many times have you told yourself, you'll start next month, next year when the kids are older, when the money is better, when things calm down? You are gambling with a resource you can never replace. Every delay is a bet that you'll still be here tomorrow. One day you'll lose that bet. If you've been playing small, letting comfort and routine lull you into a quiet life, thinking there will always be more time, you need to wake up. The people who leave a mark on the world aren't the ones who waited until they were ready. They're the ones who felt the clock ticking and decided they couldn't waste another day. And here's the most freeing part. Once you stop fearing death, you stop fearing failure, because you realize that in the end, failure doesn't matter. Embarrassment doesn't matter. Rejection doesn't matter. None of those things follow you when you go. What matters is whether you use the time you had to do something that mattered to you. Death gives you the permission to be fearless. It reminds you that the worst thing that can happen, the thing you're already guaranteed, is coming anyway. So what's left to be afraid of? One day, someone will speak your name for the last time. Your photos will fade, your possessions will belong to someone else. And the only thing left will be the impact you had, the memories you created, the life you actually lived. That's why you can't afford to drift. That's why you can't afford to keep putting off the life you want. So live with urgency, say what you need to say, do what you've been scared to do, stop waiting for permission, stop holding back your gifts. Death is coming whether you're ready or not. That's not a reason to panic. That's a reason to act. You've been given the most precious, rare, non-renewable resource in existence, time. And the only way to honor it is to spend it like it matters. When you wake up tomorrow, remember this: you don't know how many tomorrows you have left. So make today count. Not next week, not next year, not one day, today. Because one day, sooner than you think, today will be the last day. And when that day comes, you'll want to know you lived in a way that made death powerless. You've heard the truth, you've felt it in your chest, and now there's no going back. You can't unhear this. You can't pretend you don't know what's at stake. From this moment forward, you're either the person who wakes up tomorrow ready to fight for the life you want, or you're the person who stays exactly the same and wonders years from now why nothing ever changed. Here's the reality. Life is not going to bend to your comfort. The world will not stop and wait for you to feel ready. Opportunity doesn't knock politely and wait at your doorstep. It comes, and if you're not prepared, it moves on without you. The harsh truth: no one owes you anything. Not success, not recognition, not a second chance. Everything you want in this life is earned through sacrifice, through consistency, through an unshakable refusal to quit. And you have a choice. You can keep telling yourself you'll start tomorrow. But remember, tomorrow is a seductive lie. Tomorrow is where dreams go to die. All you have is right now, this minute, this breath. If you waste it, it's gone forever. So stop negotiating with your limitations. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop hoping for the perfect conditions. Perfection is an illusion. The only thing that's real is action. Action in the face of fear. Action in the absence of motivation. Action when no one's watching. One day, your story will end. And when it does, You won't care about the comfort you clung to, the opinions that held you back, or the fears you let control you. You will care about whether you truly lived, whether you used every ounce of your potential, whether you left something behind that mattered. So stand up, decide, commit, and never look back. Because if this doesn't motivate you, nothing will.